afternoon and welcome to the Board of Education and Business Committee meeting of Tuesday, January 28th. I'd like to acknowledge that this meeting is taking place on the lands of the Hul'qumi'num speaking people, specifically the Kwamutsun village. The Board of Education is honored to be able to collaboratively walk beside the Kwatsun, Malahats, Abasset, Halalt, Penelakut, Manus, and Wiaksan peoples, who have cared for this land for thousands of years. May we walk gently on the ceded and unceded territories of their lands as we work together to lift up all of the Ahasmanam. Motion to adopt the agenda, please. Trustee Souza, all in favor? Carried. Minutes of the 2026, or the November 26th Board of Education and Business Committee meeting. Board of Education Business Committee adopts the minutes of the November 26, 2024 Board of Education Business Committee meeting. Mover, Trustee Schmidt, Trustee Lise, in favor, motion carried. Our favorite time of the year. Yes.
I believe that we had talked about removing the action list from this agenda because this committee never has an action list.
Yes.
Okay, just so we have that in the record so it goes for next time.
School plan presentations, our favorite time. Kwamutsun School Principal Claire Whitney.
Thank you. So I'd like to introduce our wonderful student presenters today. So I have Jonathan George, Caitlin Gall, Jagisha Asani, and of course our wonderful Vice Principal here, Darren Hart. We're going to talk about our school festival today and our goals, but before we even begin that, I really want to acknowledge that Kwamutsun School is a school that has contribution from so many different people. And so we have an incredible group of people that come and share their knowledge from our First Nations community. We have incredible parent support that comes through from our PAC to offering the booster juices and the pizza lunches every other week for kids, to making wonderful sports opportunities happen for kids. We have people from the community who don't even have kids at our school coming to coach our kids. And so just as you go through and hear our presentation today, realize we are really a reflection of an incredible community in the Cowichan Valley, and what an honor it is to be the principal of Kwamutsun School with all of the support that we have behind us. Okay, all right. So our school goals, so Darren and I will talk to this. So creating strong and positive connections with all of our students is one of our school goals that we made in collaboration with our parents and students and staff.
One of the things we're really working on this year is looking at mental health and the mental health and wellness goal, and we've really been focusing on that around the technology piece, for example. And if you come to our school, you won't see a lot of cell phones in kids' hands at our school. And I really think, and Clint and I were talking about that, kids feel connected to the school and they feel better about being off that device during school time, which I think is really positive.
We have a strong commitment, and again, this is the work of the people in the building, toward improving literacy for students. And so we have non-enrolling teachers that absolutely give their time to make sure that we're offering not just Tier 1 in our staff meetings and supporting that throughout our school, but Tier 3, those small group interventions to really raise the literacy levels for students, meeting them where they're at as they're coming out of elementary and continuing with that support throughout their time with us at Kwamutsun. And that important work as we transition students through to QSS as well as being done. So it's been really taking off in the last 2 years, and every year it's been getting stronger and stronger. So it's been very exciting.
Yeah, and building on all those on our wraparound within our school, just embedding the First People's principles of learning, that conversation around what school is and what school means. We're always having those discussions as a school community, and the fact that school doesn't just happen in the four walls of the classroom. We talk about all the different things that are happening within our community, but also outside of our school, and our kids in that community as well. So there's a lot going on that we're going to share with you today.
One of the beautiful things about Kwamutsun that we have 8 9s together, so there's not a lot that separates them. So we have a lot of grade 8 and 9 leadership opportunities that happen for students. It is a lot of fun with this age group, but this age group has a ton of energy. It takes a special kind of person to come into that building and bring that energy with them, but boy is it ever a fun place. And so I hope that through this festival you get to see all the fun we get to have with our wonderful kids.
As you can see with Frank up there, his tongue.
Yeah. I do have to say there is something about this age group, and every picture seems to have a student with the tongue sticking out. So, okay, here we go. it takes a moment to just to catch up. Okay, there we go. So I have here, we have advisory, a strong connection that we built in is advisory throughout the week. Actually just Wednesdays, but we have a variety of different activities that we do weekly with students. And so I'll have Jigisha and Caitlin talk about some of the things that happen in advisory.
Every Wednesday we have one advisory representative from each class to come and talk about what's going good in the school, things that can be improved, and kind of stuff like that. And then it leads to, we have assemblies too, where there's challenges and games, like ring toss, and someone's wearing like antler kind of things, so you're trying to toss all the antlers, which kind of games like that. Brings everybody together and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And we also, like me and Caitlin and Jordana, we attend DSAC and climate change meetings, and we take ideas from those meetings and bring them to advisory reps so we can kind of looking for a word here, so we can bring those ideas back to school and kind of implement them into our education and some of these challenges.
That's great. We also in our grade assemblies, we do lightning strikes. So we like to catch kids in the act of doing wonderful things around the school. They get a little treat from the school store, and then they get into that draw that we draw monthly, and we do clown swag for that, yearbook draws, all sorts of things. So yeah, just a real positive way to celebrate kids.
We started our house team system as well this year.
Yeah.
And I think the kids have really enjoyed that because as you can see here at the bottom picture, the visual piece, they can see how they're doing when it comes to challenges. So
yeah.
that positive reinforcement when they're working together as a team.
All right. And our next one, did it pop up? Okay. So building strong connections at school. We've had our leadership class plan for us really fun dances. They also help give us input for our school-wide event days, so like our Truth and Reconciliation Day, which is work that we do ongoing throughout the year, but we have that special assembly in September. Our Remembrance Day assembly. We were really honored this year to have a number of students come and contribute for that assembly. I'm going to read with you. Kenny couldn't be here today, but he wanted me to share this today, and I am someone who loves sticky notes, so bear with me. So Kenny presented in both our Remembrance Day and our Truth and Reconciliation Day, and his words are, "When I got up in front of the school, I had a good feeling. I had never done that before, and my dad got to see me, and I know how proud he was." And so it's been a really incredible experience seeing the leadership emerge with students throughout our school. And Kenny is one of those kids who regrettably he can't be here today, but I wish he could meet because he really is a wonderful leader. Yeah. Okay. Did anyone want to share anything on assemblies? Okay. Connections to community. I'm going to have you share some of the outings that we do here at Quamashin and share some of the fun things.
I know all of the grade 9 humanities classes went to Butter Church, and we listened to an elder talk about the history of Butter Church, and it was a very a really nice field trip. You got to connect with nature a little bit because afterwards we went to Cowichan Bay and we spent time at the beach, and we got to listen to a story about Mount Sahelem, and it was a really nice time because it was quite interesting and it was a nice time. Yeah.
We had a hike to Mount Zuhalem near the start of the school year, and it was really fun because it's like a good way to have all your friends at once and to gather around, and then you get to go on an outing where it's like just a good time to take a nice break and hang out with your friends, get some fresh air, and there was gelato at the end of the hike.
It was a big hit.
We know how to get them all to the finish line.
Yeah. Jonathan, did you want to talk about what you liked about our Zuhalem day?
I liked the walk, but I was tired after that, and I liked to hang out with friends and like playing games.
Yeah, it's a pretty great day. We start the year off with that, so we usually plan it in that last week or so of September to October. But the whole school, so 600 students, all go up and over Mount Suhalem, and we learn the history of Mount Suhalem and share that with our students before we go up. And we all come together there to celebrate each other as we walk up. And at the end, we celebrate. Yeah, lots of gelato. Okay. We are a school that has lots of clubs, and I have more than listed here as well, but we have a lot of stuff going on, and this is one of the benefits of having a closed campus for students is we had student input about what we want to see at lunchtime, and we have a lot of fun things happening. So I'll look at Caitlin and Takesha, and Jonathan, if you want to share a little bit about some of your favorite things to do at lunchtime.
At lunch, me and a lot of my friends, we go over to the art room because Miss Rye, she has beads out and we sit and make friendship bracelets, which is technically not really a club, but it's a nice time to spend your lunch. And I also go to the chess club, and it's quite nice having chess matches against Mr. Carly. Yeah.
And Caitlin here participates twice a week in
The after school rock climbing at Purvo. I'm going tonight actually. It's Tuesdays and Fridays, 4 to 6:30. It's pretty fun. It's kind of just like drop-in climbing, and there's kids from other schools. So like after you go a couple times, you start to make friends with everybody, and see them around.
really brings kids together, and I'm like Jamie and I both are there most Tuesdays and Fridays. Jamie's except for tonight, but we'll be back over there. But yeah, we really enjoy what that community, the rock climbing community, is for kids, and like to make that happen. And Jonathan, you want to talk about what you like to do at lunch?
What I do at lunch is like I go outside and play basketball with my friends, or I just go walk around the school.
And also, if we need any help at lunchtime, Jonathan's one of our big helpers at lunchtime as well. If we've got some things to set up, we've got Jonathan helping out. So yeah, it's pretty fun at lunch. You see there, we've got Wordle Wednesday, one of my favorite clubs.
I know when it's Wednesday, I can't find Claire at lunch. She's in the room.
I am, like, I'm gone. Yeah.
Yeah, athletics, big part of our school. We were actually chatting about that when I came in here. Just a lot of teams on the go right now, but throughout the whole school year, we have a lot of teams. We're very lucky to have a lot of, as I mentioned, community volunteers. We have a lot of great people that volunteer. We have a lot of great staff that put time in. I think we were just commenting earlier, we have I think 5 basketball teams running right now, various ages and levels. We have a wrestling program that's just amazing. It's very, very large actually for the size of the school we have. We're looking at soccer is going to start up pretty soon. We're in conversation around rugby. Goes rugby again in the spring. So like cross country will start up. So we have a full gamut of sports. And the one thing that's interesting with our sports programs, it's 8, 9, but a lot of our kids compete against, our 9s are competing against 10s. So if it's wrestling, we've got some of our grade 9s are competing against grade 11s and 12s. So we have a lot of high level athletes that are just starting out, getting things going. So it's great to see them, the support they have, and the opportunity then with the kids.
Well, it's also really growing and developing our fine arts programs. So we have drama happening. So our showcases that we do every 6 weeks at the end of an exploratory rotation, there are drama skits happening. Our grade 9s are doing drama plays. Our band is doing showcases throughout that time as well. So we're really seeing not just sports, but fine arts also developing. And it's something for everybody. And it's nice the size of the school because we are able to provide so much variety for kids, and so they're finding their places and their people, and it's really strengthening belonging for students. All right, did you want to talk about some of your favorite things to do?
I'm in the grade 9 dance class, and we are actually putting together a dance right now that we're going to perform in March. It's like an African American dance. It's quite nice. Yeah, and we've already done 2 dances so far. We've done a Halloween one and a Christmas one.
There was a competition a couple months back for rock climbing at the Boulder House where you could sign up, and I don't think you even had to be in the climbing classes or have like much experience. You can sign up, you bust down, and it's a climbing competition. It was pretty fun. I think that was my first competition and the only one I've done. So.
She keeps asking me when's the one at Stelli's because she wants to go. Yeah. And talking about rugby.
Rugby's fun. Me and my friend Kenny joined rugby, and then it's pretty fun. We had our support with our teammates and the coach, Mr. Candelaria, and Mr. Candelaria was like a lot of help because he helped us like with a lot of stuff, learning about rugby.
Yeah, I know Kenny really loved learning how to tackle. Tackling is one of the things Kenny shared with me was talk about tackling. I really like my tackling, yeah. All right, so we've talked about lunchtime, but we really do have, and again, when I talk about the community of Quamachin, we have an incredible hot lunch program where we have students who can have free food, and it's healthy food. I think we're one of the only schools that have a full salad bar for students. So you see kids walking around with big containers of salad eating away. So it's really good. It's and that's done through a President's Choice grant that we have. So it's not just Nourish, but we also have fresh fruit and veggies for students. Students are also learning skills. So we've got an Interact machine, and we have about, I think, 40 students signed up on the roster who work in the school store. So they're getting real life experience. And so when you're 13 to 15, you're just on that cusp of getting into that job market, but we're giving you those real life skills that you can take and apply. And that's a really wonderful program we have going. And there's a picture there of Maureen, and she works with students every day to help prepare that salad bar and the Nourish Cowichan hot food options. So kids are getting food prep experience and working with her as well. So it's really just a wonderful thing for students, and lots of variety. And then our lovely pack is like, well, we've kind of closed the campus, but can we still bring in some fun stuff for them? And they love Booster Juice and Pizza. It's pretty easy. So we've got Booster Juice and Pizza coming tomorrow. Yeah. Our literacy commitment here, as I stated earlier, it's really growing. And so we are able to, with small group instruction and some district support as well, work with students and really meet them where they're at their literacy levels and bringing it up. And that's just, it's a reflective process. We sort of retest where students are at and see that we're bringing up that reading level, but they're most importantly getting that sense of accomplishment as well and seeing their reading levels improve. It's been really, really wonderful to have that. We do focus on Tier 1 strategy, so that's for the whole classroom as well. And so we've been able to support teachers with resources as well as mentors in the building to help foster that Tier 1, because that's where you want to hit first of all as well, is bringing in those Tier 1 supports. So it's been just, couldn't do this work without the incredible team of people we have at Quamachin. Okay. All right, mental health. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So we've talked a lot about some of the different things that we have, but we also bring in presenters at Quamachin as well, and lessons that work around specific areas of mental health and wellness, as well as in our PE classes. And our PE classes all start in the classroom as well, so that we can be hitting those domains for mental health and wellness, but we hit it in different ways throughout Quamachin as well, because we know how important that health and wellness, mental health and wellness is for our students. So there's a lot of work that we do throughout the year.
Yeah, and working at a middle year school, and we have that conversation about being in the classroom, but the classroom can move to different places. So we're constantly getting kids to different locations to have different conversations. One of the locations over at Yum Nuts, beautiful outdoor classroom, get kids outside, get kids in the environment more, and get hands-on. And it seems to just having conversations with our students, they like that. They like that mixture of being in and being out throughout the years.
All right, and in Coast Salish, arts, culture, and language is ongoing work that we have in our building, and that work is brought to us by having our elders come in and share knowledge with us throughout the year. We have signage and land acknowledgement signs in every classroom that are made out of wood. As well, we have language throughout the building now that we're all starting to use. It's renaming our spaces, like our support space, Lalamatha, to caring for yourself. But really working to enhance the language and culture here at Quamachin, and it's exciting work and really important, but most importantly, it's work that celebrates culture. And I think when students see that reflected in their school, it creates more engagement for everyone, and it's rich. And we're so excited to be a part of that. Okay. All right. Let's see. Hi, Jessica, everyone. Keep going on. Okay. And there's so much more I wish I could. Yeah. But thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions? Trustee Lise?
A question and a comment. So I got to sit beside Kenny and his dad for that Remembrance Day presentation. and he was working so hard. He had his notes, he was saying it over and over, and his dad was so emotional when he went up and presented. And so I know that we talked about how proud he was and how happy he was to have his dad there. So I got to share that, and it was lovely. Just a question for the students. Now that the cell phones are gone out of the school, how has that helped you? What has that done for you?
Definitely more focus on when the teachers are talking, explaining things, like hiding on your desk, I guess.
It's definitely helped me be like a more present during some of the conversations. So I'm like, because now that I don't have phones, I can't listen to music. So that way I'm like listening to the teacher more.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Trustee Schmidt?
Darren and Claire, I have to tell you that every time I go to a committee meeting with your kids, I have heard about Salad Bar on a few occasions, so well done. Big thing. Like, I think it was DSAC, maybe, where there was like a good 2-minute conversation from one of your students talking about that Salad Bar, and the balance that you give kids for options. I think that's the key so thank you for how you've maneuvered that, because that really seemed to be an important part of what that student wanted to share with us that day. And looking at your kiddos and knowing that coming here and sitting in front of a bunch of, well, not all of us are strangers, so it's nice to see you. But to sit here in front of strangers and talk about your school it takes a lot of strength to do that. And so I want to say thank you to all 3 of you for coming in here today and talking to us and telling us about your school. My question for you students though is, do you feel there's good balance? Like, is for all the kids in Quamitton, is there something for everybody to do, or is there something more that you need to explore?
I feel it's pretty well rounded. I think.
Pretty much, yeah.
We'll hear about it in an advisory rep meeting though.
Thank you, you guys.
When you do those advisory meetings, are the kids vocal?
Yeah. They'll start off a little quiet and then they start sharing, yeah.
That's good. And you're doing a lot of work on mental health. How's that helping the teachers and their mental health? And you too.
It's the conversation. It's being comfortable having the conversation and talking. And I think that's part of it. Like we keep an open door policy with staff and students. You come to our school, our doors are open. If it's closed, it's usually wide open, right? And people know if the door is open, hey, come and chat. Absolutely. Come on in. Of course you can. And that's what it's for. Some staff, sometimes kids, they just know like, hey, I need a couple minutes. That's okay. If a staff member comes down and says, I just need a couple minutes, can you cover my class? Of course I can. No problem. Take it long as you need. Or sometimes a staff member will come in and say, I just want to connect with a student.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my office. I'll go cover your class. Don't worry about it. That's excellent. So that idea that's open door, we're there to listen, and we often will do the same with each other, right? Like, hey, I've gone in a couple times and just said to our school counselor, can I just have a couple minutes? Just need to chat. Right? And I think that knowing that that's healthy and safe is really what we want.
And I think really with the compassion and building through EASE training and the UCARO training that we do with staff, that trauma-informed helps bring into perspective those tough moments that we have as educators with our students. And it helps give permission to be human, if you will. And it's tough being human and working with humans who are going through a whole lot too. But if we hold those perspectives of what a trauma-informed practice is, that we support each other. And that's one of the beautiful things with Quamitton schools. Our staff really do get along and support each other well, and that just translates into an overall feeling and sense as you walk through the building that there is a united, kind, caring approach to how we enter into this place where we come together and learn.
Yeah, well, any other questions? Thank you very much. We really appreciated that, so thank you for coming. Next up, Mr. Dawes. You're up.
Okay, so I would like to present to you 2 of my leadership students. This is Naomi She also sits on DSEC, and this is Marley, who basically covers everything else in school. So they're going to be talking about the exciting things about our FESL or our school growth plan. I'm going to talk about the boring things first and give you some sort of ideas about what we do that's different. And so Chemainus is a fantastic place. This is my 3rd year there. The idea of coming to Chemainus is to change the culture and make it a welcoming, a kind, and wonderful place. And I think we're doing that, and I think it's fantastic. Our FESL itself was not created by me. I didn't have anything to do with it. It's created by our PLCs. So we have 4 PLCs. We have the our Indigenous Ed is a PLC that we look at. We have Literacy Numeracy, which is what we look at. We have our mental health, and then we have culture. Culture is the big one that they're going to speak about in terms of that. And so when we go to our FESL, you can get our FESL through a QR code. And so this is on our website, and anybody can go in and look at what our FESL is. And so they can flash it if they want, then it'll come our FESL. But on the side here, you can go to our side and you can see where our goals are. Numeracy, if you click on numeracy. Oh, there.
We can do that.
Yeah, oh, okay, okay. I didn't know I had to do anything. Okay. There we go. So our FESL in action, students are given tasks of designing the 4 plans. So there should be some photos and stuff coming through. There we go. Our focus for the last 2 years has been literacy. The NumLits group started long before it sort of became this, looking at tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. It started before I got there. And a group of our teachers got together and said, you know what, we need to focus on literacy and our numeracy within our building. This was outside of anything coming from the district. And these teachers would meet monthly and plan on how they're going to fix this. Fantastic group of people. I'm going to take credit for it because I'm there now, but it started before me. And the literacy has been the focus in terms of what can we do in each of the classes to improve literacy, word walls, using the Wordles, doing all those types of things as well. But this year our last focus has been improving numeracy. And so little tasks the whole school does. So certain things, we do this through our house colors. Every class is involved in a house color. Marley, you are what color?
I was blue, now I'm red.
Yes, I had to take Marley to be my house color because we've consistently lost.
To bring up the team spirit.
Every time. No, what color are you? Blue. Yeah, blue won last year. We're not going to talk about that. I lose every year. And so during those types of things, we do events through house colors to increase numeracy. One of the things that we did when we do our feast of the year is the kids had to design the feast. How were we going to sit all these people? So we have 360 some odd students. We have people from outside the community coming in. So what's the floor plan? How are we going to design that? And so we say, we're going to give you 50 tables. You set it up. So they have this challenge that they have to go through. How do we seat everybody in there using the space, using the geography of the place? And how do we get all those people to sit so they can actually see what's going on? So we do a bunch of different tasks. And then we put it into practice. We put it into play with the winning team. They're the ones who went in and set up the gym. It's kind of a scam because I don't have to set up the gym. Oh, you guys won, excellent. Now go set the gym up like you did. Oh, okay. So they all set up their gym the way they designed it so that they can seat the number of people there. Students estimate the amount of hot chocolate they needed as well. They needed to base on the mix, the ratios, and all those numbers and stuff. So that's been our focus this year is numeracy. How do we make those applicable within the life of the school? Literacy. No, I gotta click it, right? Sorry.
It's also touchscreen too.
Oh, touch. Oh, yeah. Money. Okay. I have no touch screen. We celebrate our journey through literacy with the Million Word Reading Challenge. So we have a challenge going on right now. Students can read 50,000 words, students read 100,000 words, students read 500,000 words, and students who read 1 million words. So there's a board that goes up, their names go on there, they get pizza, they get prizes, but they also get recognition in terms of, yeah, you read this number of books, or this number of words. And so we have the Million Word Challenge that's going on. This happened for first term. Students are recognized for their achievements, and their goals are displayed for all to see. I'm gonna do the touch screen. Oh, I want this one, no, this one.
It's loaded.
It's loaded, okay. Yeah, that's gone to, I want this one. Yeah. Well, they should. Can we go back?
I can back to the mouse.
Yeah, go back to the bottom.
Indigenous?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
I think it's just loading.
Yeah, you're right.
It's okay. I can sing, I can dance. For Indigenous education, when I got to the school, there had been, the Indigenous room had been closed for several years. And the first thing that myself and at that time Rhonda LaForge, Miss LaForge, wanted to do was reopen that room up for kids to give them a sense of place. And so we went through and we began the process of opening that up, painting it, and making it more inclusive for our kids. And it's not just an Indigenous room. We have other kids who go in there because our support teams are in there. And our support team has been fabulous in terms of, it's not just, we're not just there for students for Penelakut. We're not just there for students for all. We're here for all students, regardless of what your heritage, what your background is. And the connections that are made across that is fantastic. We lost Bert Elliott. He ended up going to Port Alberni, so we have a new John Joe has now come in. But Bert was really instrumental in making those connections with every kid in the building as just someone that, you know, I can go see Bert. Okay, go see Bert. Can I flick this up? Or
Sure, yeah.
I can do that?
Yeah.
So then for our focus for Remembrance Day, we actually had Joe Thorpe. He was here, he talked about his experiences and you heard the entire school just shut up when he said his experiences in Vietnam. And the whole school was like, oh crap, just shh. And then he told us stories about his friendships, and he told us stories about what was there and what he experienced. We also, so we have our land acknowledgements. We have our entire school is done up, particularly the front office, with the placards around the school to help share language with our students. So magically those will appear soon. Soon they will. The presentation of the flags. One of my pet peeves right now is that these flags have not been put up. We do have a work order in, but during for our celebration at the end of September, we had all our nation's flags made. And so we went to the nations and said, give us your flags. And a lot of them didn't have flags. They had little things of it. So we had the big flags made. And so the Penelakut, Stamanis, and Halal flags are created, and they are going up along with the Canadian flag in our gym for presentation everywhere else. Presently, they haven't been put up yet, but it will come. And so just the honor and the recognition that we're on territory that precedes us being here. And so those flags go up with the Canadian flag and the BC flag. And so those are set to go. You'll see Arthur, each one of them presented from their nation. And we presented the flags to them to be presented in our school. The learning languages, we have this throughout the school. The Hulkameen language spread out through placards. So when you come in, they're everywhere so kids can see. And that, go there, and then we're going to turn this over to you guys. The best stuff. The culture and the mental health. But you're going to have to probably touch it.
For sure.
Good, Marley.
All right. So it's in the photo, will pop up there, but we have our volleyball culture. So our volleyball program has grown over the past few years. In our new school, we have about 4 full teams now, which before I remember we could hardly bring together enough girls for one. Not only that, but our teams won our first ever banner for our achievements, and hopefully many more to come. It was a big thing for Mr. Doyle. He wants to have lots of banners. And the senior girls, as well as I believe the senior boys this year, also made it to Islands, which was a big thing for us. We'd never done that before. Hopefully, is this gonna? Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, as well as we also have volleyball classes going on in our school. So we have advanced classes and then lower classes as well, depending on usually age group and just abilities, which a lot of kids love being in. I know I was in the class and I loved it. And you're also able to do volleyball during our gym time during lunch, as well as I think they do it before school as well. So that volleyball culture is really, really grown, like from something super, super tiny to something like I didn't even realize it could get this big.
And then as well as we have our, sorry, I keep looking at you. We have our basketball team. The basketball remains a strong sport for our school. We have multiple teams running and are going out for competitions to represent us. We actually had a basketball game today during lunch, and it was really cool to see them all going out, as well as we also have our basketball PE classes, same like our volleyball classes that students can enjoy during their PE time.
Oh, I'll do that part. So the rock climbing, as some of you have said with Claire, etc. We also do rock climbing at Chemainus. We don't have our own wall, but on Tuesdays and Fridays, myself and my head secretary and Casey Parsons, our athletic director, will load kids into the car. And then we will drive them to Mount Provo, and then I run a class for them 2 nights a week for 2.5 hours. And so they get credit for that. They don't pay for the gym, but they also do it as an elective for themselves. So they can select it, and they can, we drive them, and their parents have to pick them up, though, because I won't drive them back to Chemainus because I live in Shawnigan. But it's been working well for the last 3 years, and the kids have been competing in numerous comps that we have, and they've been doing incredibly well. And it's just another sport that we can offer kids. And we make it work. We don't have a wall, but we can make it work by loading my car up and loading my head secretary's car up and loading my PE people's car up. And they're perfectly willing to drive kids. And then, yeah, it's also growing, and we have 12 kids in the class that are enrolled with me, but we have some nights it's just Chemainus kids at the climbing wall because there's so many of them coming. So it's been cool. You bet.
Okay. Oh yeah, and then return to the school dance. So I think we say about 6 years we didn't have a dance just because with problems before and like
Probably more.
yeah, even yeah. And so then like I think last year we had our first dance and it was like a big thing. So many people came. Everybody really loved it. So then this year we decided to do 2 different dances, one in the winter and then one in the spring, which will be later. Okay?
Yes.
Okay.
It's up to you. You're leading.
And then, yeah, it's been really cool just to see everybody come together and be so passionate about our school because we actually have something everybody can come to with their friends and just hang out. Yeah, and dance around, have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's actually pretty fun.
Yep.
And then, all right, so we got the dance class, and the club takes to the stage. Our dance program has gotten so popular that there is now a dance club, running alongside it. Our recent dance show showed off all the talents that we have. I was in the dance club a couple of years ago, but since then it has really grown big. Lots of our students love to go to it, and they do have their showcase that we just had, and they were able to sell tickets, and it was just a really great way to show how much that they loved dancing.
Mm-hmm. And then let's go down. School beautification. These last, I think, a little bit of the end of last year, and then this year as well. We've just been well, not us. Most of the next year, I think, but just adding little things around the school for students to notice. We got new tables in different places, which has been really nice, and stools, and there's some mats up there as well, and just really adding to the culture of our school and making it feel more like a home, which is really nice.
If you want to do it.
Okay. Cougar tracks is the thing we do. Kind of like a draw. So if a teacher catches you doing something nice or there's a project you did that they really enjoyed, they can sign a Cougar track for you and you can keep it or you can turn it in for a draw. And then we draw that at the end of every week on Friday, just a couple kids. They get a bunch of different things. It honestly depends on the week. I think you said there was
Hockey tickets, lots of
hockey
hockey
tickets. Yeah. And then sometimes, sorry. Just different things with businesses around town as well. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's a great way to show it's usually at the end of the day that it's drawn and you get your name called on the system and it's a little bit of pride walking down the hall to get your Cougar track prize.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so our house colors. So we take colors seriously. We have 3 houses in our school that form the framework for a variety of challenges and activities. The houses compete against each other for points.
These activities are tied to our festival goals, such as when we designed a layout for the winter luncheon, which Mr. talked about, and monthly numeracy challenge and spirit weeks and more. So yeah, he talked about the numeracy challenge and challenges, things like that. And then our spirit weeks consist of things like we had one where it was like crazy hair day, fake injury day. That one gets wild. And team color day, so we have yellow, red, and blue. And then lots more tacky tourist day, and it's in our little spirit weeks that we do. And then we have what the pictures are here from is our school riot. You can see us in there, and it gets pretty competitive, and we have lots of fun. Some people even bring confetti cannons if they win, and it gets pretty fun, just challenging against other students. And it brings the school together. You can really feel the community after we do one of these riots. And it's really great. This year is definitely the best one that we've had.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. We do all sorts of like fun games and stuff. Just making, I don't know, people do weird things, but
funny things.
Yeah, it really brings the school together, and everybody is always so excited about it. And like a lot of people like have a bunch of face paint.
Yes, I was putting face paint on people's faces, and we were like full on red outfits. It's been pretty fun. And usually like this one, it was kind of near the Christmas time, so we had some like Christmas games. Like Santa's reindeers and pulling kids on like mats and things like that, and everyone gets really, really into it, and it's really fun.
Yeah. And then spirit days.
Oh, okay. So that kind of is sort of in the same realm of all of that. We do have other things here. I'm in this one here, dressed up as Steve Harvey. It was pretty fun. We had Family Feud. And there's other things like that all of the students can participate in, and that is within your like school color team, as well as dress up days like we had Adam Sandler Day, or again like the fake injury day or funky hair day. Whoever participates, you get points for your school team, and then at the end of the year we get to see how many points everyone gets. And the trophy, yes. Never forget the trophy.
Yep. And then, so that's kind of, Mr. Doyle talked about it a little bit, but like, I think businesses from the community, and members of the board, they all kind of come together. We have people from the board serving, so Kathy comes, and we serve food. We get the entire school in the gym. We have hot chocolate. We have all sorts of fun things. And sometimes people come up and talk. We had Santa this year.
We did have Santa this year. That was a big thing.
It was crazy.
Everyone loves Santa. Yeah, and like a full like Christmas dinner and things like that. And I also think it's pretty great for kids that maybe don't have the opportunity to have that full-on Christmas dinner experience. It's pretty fun to have that with like your school family sort of thing.
Yeah. And then activity day. So this kind of happens every year. We alternate, I think, between winter and spring activity day. They're usually around the same time, but just the activities are different, and we'll go to different places. You can kind of choose which one you want to go to. Like last year, there was Mount Washington, an escape room and bowling.
Science World.
Science World in Vancouver. That one's always really big. Just a bunch of really fun stuff that students get to go do, and like there's funding for the people who can't afford it, which is really nice.
There are also local things that people can do if they're not wanting to go off the island or go a farther distance. But yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. And then this one, I'm going to talk about. We have drama productions every year. I love them so much. I've been in theater every year I possibly could be. Last year I was actually the main character. Which was really fun.
Very good.
But yeah, it's just a really wonderful program. You really like get a community and a connection that is like nothing else. You just kind of become a family in drama, honestly. We do all sorts of fun games and stuff in class, but then as well as like outside the timetable, like weeks leading up to it, you're like in every lunch painting sets or fitting costumes. Yeah, it is so much fun. And it takes a lot of like time out of school for people to do it as well, but people still come in and like we'll have after school practices, and then we'll have like a week of
Yeah.
Showing
off.
Yeah, and that also ticket sales help for the funding of everything
Yeah.
like that, and everyone loves to come and watch the school play.
Yeah.
Actually, the year I was in it, Kathy helped direct me and my friends dance solo. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, that's a lot too.
Yeah,
That was pretty fun.
Yeah, for sure. And also, like, then members of the community also come in. Like, I invite so many people just to come in and watch us and see our school. And it's something we can be proud of as well. It's pretty cool.
And I think
Is that the last one?
that's the last one. Yeah.
Okay. So that is Shemana's secondary,
Yes.
15 minutes. Ask your questions of these lovely two humans.
Questions? Trustee Schmidt?
First of all, ladies, it's been an honor working with you over the last few years. And I remember when I first met you guys, quite some time ago now, actually. You were a lot smaller and a lot younger. And you guys used to tell me a lot of bad things about Shemanis.
I remember that. It's definitely changed.
And I see that through your presentation today, but what I'm seeing in you that maybe I didn't see when we did our little Spamalot session, which was fun to choreograph for you guys and had fun. And the basketball game today was actually against the Capitals, so I was dealing with that. But I want to say that in knowing you for as long as I have and watching you present today, and your school spirit and your pride that you hold today, that I'm not necessarily convinced you held a few years ago. I'm just really thankful that you came today and shared that with us. I'm really thankful that you didn't hold back and you just kind of were authentically yourselves. And so I really appreciate it. And Doyle, thank you for, sorry, Mr. Doyle.
You called me worse.
But thank you as well. You have this beautiful small school. And just watching school culture today and watching the school spirit today, just today alone, but just watching the change that I've seen, by seeing it through these two lovely young ladies that are DSAC, that are volleyball, it's powerful. And to me, just seeing that change as a trustee, it just makes me feel so much better from a couple of years ago or a few years ago now when you guys told me about Shemanis and that you weren't really happy and your options weren't, and now hearing you today. So I'm really glad you came and presented. I'm really glad you came to share about what's happening there now, and that kids can find themselves and be able to see themselves in that school. So thank you so much for presenting. And Doyle, thank you for the change.
Yeah, we really gotta give it up for Mr. Doyle. He changed a lot. For the better.
Yeah.
Trustee Vise?
I loved having you present, and Mr. Doyle for everything that you've done. But one of the things that always gets me is when I hear words like school family. And so that says a lot, because our most important places in our lives is our family. And so when you have a school family, that's pretty cool. So I just want you to know I picked up on that. And then my last question for you is that as you head out of the school, what's the one thing you take away that you love the most?
Love the most. I guess that family.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I've known the kids in my grade since kindergarten, and it's like it really is like a family.
Mm-hmm. I'd say it's hard as well, because I remember especially last year for drama, because I was like such a big role, you really get to make those connections with people, and like I miss a lot of people from last year because they graduated and they had to leave. But I think a lot of the lessons you learn, like also Mr. Doyle's political science class I took last year, which is such a fun class. But you just learn so much about life, and I'd say especially those two classes that you can take out. And yeah, it is amazing.
Thank you.
I picked the right kids.
Either way, Doyle.
With all this stuff going on in the school, how is it helping with the engagement of the kids who maybe feel, I don't want to go to school today? Does it help them want to go to school every day?
Just one thing that we didn't touch on, that what we have with the community that's, that gets a lot of those kids in, is we also have a relationship with youth services. And so youth services has a room in our building that they open up at lunchtime and they open up in the morning. And so they run, they've got foosball, they've got pool, they've got all these things that kids are flocking there in the mornings. And they've got the video games, they've got all that stuff, they're running contests. And so they're incredibly involved in our school. It's sort of this isolated thing in the back, but if you want to find some of those kids who aren't engaged in the volleyball, they're not there, that's where they are, that's their home. And they're there every day. And they have this relationship with the youth coordinators there that they don't have even with their teachers. And so that's something that we have in our building, which we're gifted to have. And yeah, it touches a lot of those kids, but we didn't mention that part as part of our festival. It's been there and running for years now, and it's just sort of something that, you know, sometimes we forget that it's there, but it's doing a lot. But they can speak to the other stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely with like we can always see kids in there. I mean, definitely like the kids who aren't gonna go out and play street hockey or something like that, they'll be in there and they're just having just as much fun. But yeah, definitely with all of these spirit days and things, it gets kids to look forward to something that's going on. And then when you dress up for something, say, oh, you dressed up too, and you get your photo taken together. And I think, yeah, it definitely brings it together rather than just constantly worrying about schoolwork or things like that.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I think especially I've also seen a change with that, just with like a lot of kids who like don't want to do things. I also sometimes used to be that kid, not gonna lie, but just honestly, those few teachers that started to make a difference in our school and the students as well. I can still remember, I don't know who in the world it was, but I was like a grade 7, I had a horrible day, and I had like a grade 12 student who came up to me and like bought me stuff from the store, and that like made my day, and I can still remember that. But like just all sorts of little things that people do, and like some teachers will have their like room open at lunch, or like just talk to students and joke around with them, and it is. Yeah.
Thank you. You ever think of having dress up as Mr. Doyle Day?
Oh, I got that.
We did have a student do that, and she had like the
She nailed it.
wall piece with the keys. She did a great job. Yeah, it was pretty active.
Thank you very much. As I said, this is our most enjoyable meeting of the month. And, we really appreciate you coming today, so thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And now you're free to leave.
Okay.
Run fast. See you, ladies.
Good. Thank you. Until next time. Until next time. Walk in, okay. Okay. All right.
Bye. Bye, Claire. Bye, Darren. Bye, Claire.
Okay, now we're going to do the rest of this stuff. Administrative procedures.
Great, thank you through your chair. Just turn your attention to page 8 of 12 in your agenda package, and I want to give credit to Assistant Superintendent Olson, who took the lead on this. What we're looking at here is Administrative Procedure 461, substitute service for support staff, and step that we've taken is to remove the administrative procedure, and the rationale is that the administrative procedure is unnecessary and does not reflect our current practice. So, no point in us having the language in the package. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Nope. Business and operations, Mr. Sandquist.
Thank you. We've been long awaiting the recalculation of the operating grant for 2024-2025. We got pieces of it yesterday in the operating tables and the finalized document today. And so it comes up here. And so the grant looks like this, where the blue section is, sorry, not blue, that's just what I highlighted. Well, I'm gonna make it bigger.
That'd be
The
great.
white section reflects the grant recalculation. There's no changes to the funding level rate, so it was relatively predictable based on our student numbers that we had from September 30th. A couple of highlights here. Overall in the province, there's 7,884 students more than last year, or 1.4% growth. In the case of this school district, we dropped by 1.7%, or 149 students over last year. So there were 39 school districts that grew and 21 school districts that shrunk. Part of our grant is to receive an enrollment decline supplement, something we haven't seen in a very long time, probably well over a decade, since we've had a decline of greater than 1%, or any decline at all, actually. We had a minor one of about 20 students in 2020 from 2019, which was during the COVID cycle, but we have now dropped 1.7% over year, and hence why this supplement is here. Chair, we have a question from the floor.
Is that like the funding protection we used to receive?
It's not funding protection.
No, but is it like that?
It's to assist districts in managing enrollment growth when it's greater than 1%, rather than securing your funding for the next year, because you can't take out services at the rate for which your enrollment is dropping. So we have received this in the past, a long time ago. One of the items that we were looking to wait for confirmation on, I did speak to this committee and the board about the increased cost of our teacher wages over the year, that the average teacher salary had come in quite a bit higher, and what was it going to look like on the salary differential line. So I can report some good news in that regard, that the salary differential is up by, sorry, I got use up some of my finger can do this. Is up year over year by 336,000 over what we had originally in our projection. So that helps to offset some of that increase in average teacher salary cost. Overall, the grant is only out now by about $349,410 over the spring estimate. So we will come back with the expenditure side, which we're currently working through, and the revenue side with an amended budget. The ministry has set the date for the amended budget as March 28th, 2025, way too far down into the, we don't want to overlap too much with the actual annual cycle for the 25-26 budget, so we are going to anticipate bringing you something much sooner than that for adoption for the board through the BEBC committee, probably in the end of by the end of February. But overall, I think it's as good as it could be given our enrollment drop, and we've done a lot to mitigate our costs in relation to that. And I don't want to speak prematurely. We still have some testing to do on our budget, but I think it isn't quite as grim as some of the early projections were.
Any questions?
So $102,181,983. Okay. Back to the agenda. The board advisory committee met with all of the partners, and one of the items that we discussed at that meeting was the 25-26 budget guiding principles. Knowing that we'd be bringing them to the BEBC committee for possible recommendation to the board. So updates to the budget guiding principles from last year are to update with the new strategic plan dates, 2025 to 2030. That's the first bullet. That's more of a housekeeping item. And one of the recommendations that came out of our discussion at advisory was to change sort of in the middle there where it's highlighted, accounts for economic uncertainties from accounts for uncertainties for inflation, uncertainties of inflationary pressures, because certainly there's more than just inflation now with world events, and some of them south on our border that are going to create some economic uncertainties for the Canadian and BC economy. So that is an update that we have made here. And made no other changes to these guiding principles. So they're here if the Board of Education and Business Committee wish to make any other recommendations for changes. Otherwise, they would be ready for recommendation to the board.
Make a motion.
There is a motion in the package. I'll go to that here. There. Yeah, oh, actually, it isn't in the package, but we should make a motion that the board, I'm gonna read it as it will be. That the Board Education and Business Committee recommends the 2025-2026 budget guiding principles to the Board of Education. Let's go to number 79, Cowichan Valley.
Mover trustee Schmidt, trustee Souza. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carried.
Thank you. That concludes my report.
Okay, highlights of the January 21st advisory committee meeting. Would you like to speak on this?
Sure. Wasn't expecting to, but I will give it my best since Trustee Croft isn't here. As usual, we had a great check-in and advisory got to meet Superintendent Davey, which was nice. The question of the day was favorite gift or give from Christmas, which was actually a nice touching moment to hear everybody talk about family. We had some partner groups missing, so it was a bit of a shorter meeting. We did touch on, of course, the Truth Reconciliation standing item, and that's always something that will be ongoing with advisory. We did talk about the strategic plan launch because we were the board was looking for information regarding how we want to have that distributed. And it looks like schools are really asking for hard copies as well, which surprised me because hard copies aren't always the go-to for people. Usually it's electronic. So I was pleasantly surprised to hear that hard copies are being requested. And then, of course, we had a good conversation regarding the guiding principles, and those recommendations are before the board today. So that's the meeting.
Thank you very much for that. If there's no other business, can I get a motion to adjourn, please? Trustee Elise, trustee Souza, all in favor. Thank you very much. We will see everyone next week.